Hey guys, welcome back to Behind Bars Blueprint. My name is Jason. Thank you again for joining me for part 2 of How to Deal with Guilt series. This one is the guilt of being free. You are the person that didn't go to prison. Your loved one did, but you are carrying the load and the guilt and the shame, and you want to know how to deal with it. In today's episode, we're going to go over all of that. We're going to try to touch on points that might be a little bit sensitive, but get ready because you could learn an awful lot. So the first part of this Being Free from Guilt series, part 2, with the incarcerated loved one that you are dealing with, that you are thinking about, that you're missing, that you're loving, it can be tough. You're not the one that's going to prison, but you're the one that still hurts. You're being guilt-free is going to be very difficult. You're guilty for maybe not doing more. You're guilty for living free while they can't. It could be any number of things, but it's very, very important to understand it's normal. Okay, you need to understand why you feel this guilt. If a lot of people will carry it around, they won't process it, they won't think about it in a manner, in a way, in a depth that they need to. It feels like you didn't. You feels like you failed them. It feels like you didn't stop whatever was going on. Sometimes people have survivor's guilt. We see that quite often, and survivor's guilt is simply you're free and they're not. Right. It's something that, okay, even though maybe it's their fault, they committed the crime, now they have to do the time. It still doesn't matter. It's something that really tugs at your heart because, again, you're out here and you can go to the store, you can go driving, you can do whatever you want, and you can do all the things that they can't do. And that can be a huge, huge problem with guilt. The second thing you have to watch out for when dealing with guilt is it's what it can do to you. Okay, it can make you withdraw. You can stop showing up for your own life. You can stop showing up for events, family get-togethers. I know my wife, when she would go to family get-togethers, it was a very difficult thing for her. She did it for the children. She did it to make sure that it was something that was a normal thing for them to do, so they could just kind of continue their lives. It was very difficult for her. She had to put on a good face because we'd always gone to these together, and now suddenly I'm not there, and that's something that she really, really struggled with, and it can sabotage your happiness every single day. So what exactly do you do with the guilt? Well, you talk about it. Don't bottle it up. Find somebody you trust, okay? Again, we've got counseling services at www.behindbarsblueprint.com. You can schedule 30 or 60-minute sessions if you have nowhere else to go. I would actually prefer and recommend you find somebody you trust. Go to a church. Talk to a preacher, talk to a priest, talk to a trusted friend, loved one. Family members are okay too. We kind of discourage going directly to immediate family members because sometimes they might be dealing with the same thing, and then you start feeding off each other, and that's not good. You want to get somebody that you trust that's a little bit distance from the situation, so they're going to give you honest feedback, they're going to give you honest support without getting wrapped up into the guilt process themselves. You need to also set boundaries, and this one's going to sound kind of mean, but it's important that you're a supporter, you're not a savior. Okay, you need to remember that. You need to remember that. Okay, and you may need to remind your loved one that as well. You can support, and that's your job, and you should do it, but you're not a savior. You can't move mountains. They're going to want you to start filing all kinds of stuff. And again, I'm saying this from experience. I've seen this happen. You get this loved one inside. I've seen men on the phone screaming at their loved ones, do this, do that. You've got to do more. You got to get me out of here. This is terrible. I can't do this. I can't make it. And even if that happens, you have to maintain control on the other side and say, look, I'm doing all I can. I will support you all I can. I will look into this. Okay. But you have to start being realistic. You're probably going to be in there for the duration of your sentence. Okay. You have to start accepting that. And then let's work from there to see if we can do something better. Okay. I'm a supporter, but I'm not a savior. Okay. I can't move mountains. You need to do what you can, not what kills you, okay? And I'm going to say that again. Do what you can, but not what kills you. What do I mean by that? A multitude of things, okay? I mean several things by that. Do what you can, but don't stress yourself out. Don't lose your sense of peace over this, okay? I've seen people run themselves ragged, lose sleep, not getting enough sleep. They're not eating enough. They're eating too much. They're not doing enough. They're sitting around. They're lethargic, and it's all because I don't know what to do. I just feel so guilty about all this, and it just consumes you, and it kills you. It kills your peace. It kills your relationship. It's not a good thing. So you want to make sure that you're doing what you can, and you have to tell yourself that. Look, I'm doing what I can. Okay, tell your loved one, I'm doing what I can. All right, but you have to have time for you. You have to have time to step back, decompress, regroup, and then get back at it again. And you need to let them know that, look, I'm doing all I can, and I'm only one person, but I'm doing everything I can. I love you, I support you, but I can only do so much. So you just have to be patient with me, okay? And the last thing I want you to remember is you are not alone. Okay, the first thing you can do if you have no other resources, go to www.behindbarsblueprint.com. We just updated all of our program workbooks. We have workbooks for you at home, the loved one, you're back at home, you're maybe struggling with guilt. The workbook goes through a tremendous amount of material. What do you need to do? How do you handle the legal system? How do you go through an appeals process? How do you deal with guilt? We go through all of that. That's something that you can use at home, okay? You can work through it step by step. When you start feeling down, you start feeling guilty, grab the workbook, open it up, start working your way through it. That's what it's intended to do. There's a lot of good material in there, and it's very, very tested material. I've been doing this for 15 years, okay? It's been tested in the field with actual inmates, with actual parolees, and it works, okay, guys? I've seen it happen in real time, and I'm not just saying that. You can take a workbook, and because it's on Amazon, you can send it to your loved one. We've got one that's about incarceration. What can you do while you're in there? How can you make best use of your time? How do you deal with your mental health while you're incarcerated? How do you maintain who you are as a person? We've got all that in there, okay? Again, it's at www.behindbarsblueprint.com. You can also send me an email, behindbarsblueprint@gmail.com, if you have any questions. I'm on all the social media platforms. I do a lot of talking on TikTok with people, get a lot of questions answered there. So if you see me there, feel free to ask a question. I try to get to everything I can. I'm one person, but I'm doing everything I can because, guys, this is important, okay? We've walked down this road, and we all know that it stinks, okay? I get it. But you can make a difference if you follow these rules, you follow these principles, you follow these steps, and help to support your loved one. And until next time, guys, keep the faith and stay strong.